Hello everyone, Maris here. It's been about a year and a half almost. I feel like I haven't done a video in a long time. A good reason, I mean, most of the time this year and a half. Most particularly at the start of summer, Dawn Trail, FF14 or Final Fantasy 14 online. I have been more or less actively playing the ever-living crap out of that game almost every day, running a guild of 500 plus people. So if anyone's been wondering where the hell I've been, that's basically my distraction from this, you know, untimely, crappy event that had happened. So, for those of you aware, more or less in the past, I, um, I was good friends with, the late YouTuber Apollo Legend, and he, not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna talk about that. That's not why I'm here, but I just wanted to say I was friends with him at one point, but what led up to this was all the times that, I would look into like the cheating accusations that were on Twin Galaxies in the past. As many of you who are um, previous fans of mine and whatnot, friends of mine from Twin Galaxies, you would already know from where I'm coming from that a lot of the time I'll look through records on Twin Galaxies and I'll see which one I think is bogus and which one I think isn't. A nice example, there is a bogus record that's like um, 55-hour DVD submission for Fallout 3, and it's all in DVDs. And mind you, how does a DVD fit 55 fucking hours of footage? No, it's like multiple DVDs recorded over, and they didn't even bother to check it. They put 55,000,000 as the end time for the run, which obviously that's not legit. But, Jace Hall keep it because, it's grandfathered in, not under his policy and term, which I don't agree with that. I feel like, and I'll agree with a good friend of mine, Rudy Chavez, Game Sensei. Um, he feels like you should still be able to upload a record and not have to go through hoops and have people adjudicate it. You have other users adjudicating. You can't just submit a score and then boom, it's there for good. Um, and you need submission points, which you need to go out and vote for other people's submissions just to be able to upload your own, which I think is kind of fucking stupid. So I will agree with Chavez on that one, but I'm rolling off topic here. There's a lot of things that I've gone over Twin Galaxies for the last few years, quietly, minding my own business, mind you, and at the same time still trying to do my own runs. Like, for example, I currently hold the world record for Fallout 3. I hold the world record for Fallout New Vegas. I'm about to have the world record for Oblivion. And then I'm going to try to do Skyrim, which I don't really know if I want to do Legendary Edition or, whatever. Try to get all the things, because there's different versions of the game. The Special Edition, the VR Edition. Do I want to beat the game under the hardest difficulty in VR, the Special, the Legendary, the Regular? Which one am I playing, So that one I've kind of like put off to the side because I don't want to replay that game 4 fucking times in a row. But again, eventually I'm going to come to it. There's also the expansion, so maybe I'll do a run of Morrowind or something. I'll figure that out. But as I've been saying, I'm going off topic here. Today's video is about, it's somewhat of a video response to Van Buren 20. So as most of you would know, about a year to, I made a video talking about the red stick retrofitting. Now, from the Florida Mortgage Broker Association with Billy Mitchell and Todd Rogers, they were posing in front of a Donkey Kong cabinet which pertained a red stick. YouTuber Carl Jobs posted that this is completely, bogus, that this is a fake score because it was using non-OEM hardware. The argument that I tried to push back then wasn't so much that I'm disagreeing with him. It was more along the lines of, hey, in the past, Twin Galaxies allowed it retrofitting to an extent.
Here we are at the Missile Command machine at E4All Expo. Trackball is on the wrong setting. Trackball on the wrong setting. I told him to set it. We'll see how long it takes him. It's 11 o'clock now. I got a funny feeling it's going to be a while. So here's Walter Day. How you doing, Walter?
Doing okay. Good to see you.
Great. I'm glad. I just wanted to ask you a question about the. Step back a little bit. Sorry, that's it. About the settings on the machine, on the missile command machine, because on the website it says player's choice.
Player's choice. That means they can be set to either off or either.
Yeah, but there's no on the website. It doesn't say anything about what the choice is.
Right now on the website, the way it's been all these years, all the way back, is
Well, I'm just worried about now. I mean, if I make a score, are you when you put it on the website, are you going to indicate that it was done on the on setting if I play on the on setting?
Okay, here's the ruling that
It's a yes or no question, Walter.
Here's the ruling. Well, let me finish. Let me explain it.
Okay.
When you go to the ranking, you'll see them all together.
Right.
When you click on the individual thing, for instance, Jeff Blair, he got a score on on. Tony Temple got a score on off.
Right.
I'm going to make sure that all the referees always note how they played their game, whether on or off. But the actual ranking standings will show them all blended together. Because that's the historical tapestry all the way back. We don't know a lot. We don't know what a lot of those scores were done on, whether they're done on or off. So that's just tradition that they're all there in the same ranking, and you can choose whichever one you want. But I intend to have everybody who plays physical games.
Yeah, but but on the website right now, even on the individual scores, it doesn't say what it was play on.
But there's a note thing that doesn't come up. The reason it doesn't come up is because when Brian finished programming the thing, this note box just doesn't publish on the front page, but it's known by me which ones are on and which ones are off. And if I have my way, we'd have that changed so that people can see whether it's on or off. I don't mind it.
So you don't have it now?
We don't have it published that way, but we have.
Well, why are you? So you plan on publishing it that way? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they're all only going to be in one standing. They're all going to be merged together in one standing. Then a person can discover by clicking on it whether or not they were done on or off. Because I like the idea of knowing whether you did it on or off.
Right.
I like the idea of knowing all the future people knowing on or off. And the reason for that is that I want future generations of scorekeepers. I want future generations of scorekeepers to have the liberty and the ability to reevaluate that if they want. Like maybe 5 years from now they decide we're going to separate on and off and have them in their own standings. I want that to be a possibility for them to know how to handle by knowing whether you played on off or you played on on. And that's fine. We're going to give the future generation scorekeepers that option to decide.
So you can't tell that right now, but you're going to change that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm going to have everybody be able to click so they'll know whether it's on or off. I like that. Even though they're arguing about it on the internet, I'm all for people knowing whether it's done or not.
So you're for it, but you don't know if it's actually going to go through then. Is that what you're saying?
It's already on there.
It's not already on there. I already looked.
It's not on the thing you can see, but it's in the note database that's behind the scenes.
But and I went to E4All was because they used my name on their website without my permission. And I thought Tony Temple might be there to play, but he didn't show. So I played exhibition. I played one game of Missile Command right away. I got 816,000 on the slow cursor with two cities at 600,000. And Walter immediately put the score on the Twin Galaxies website right that very minute for the purpose to harass me. I said, well, Walter, what about my 1.6 from 1985? I mean, he said, well, we can't put that one up because the trackball setting was unknown and there's no physical evidence. I said, well, hey, I mean, that's your responsibility. As a matter of fact, they reported to Guinness Book of World Records that Tony Temple's score and my score was done on the on setting. They had physical evidence, but they destroyed it. And then they created a fraudulent Missile Command trackball report to try to trick Guinness and other people into thinking the correct setting was off. Had not any evidence of player's choice. And here he is jackassing himself again in Washington, June of 2009, when I caught up to him.
Okay, turn the camera on.
Okay.
Okay, I, Walter, today am officially verifying that Roy has the game set on tournament settings, so there'll be no extra cities, and he's playing on the on setting for the
slow cursor.
The slow cursor
Okay,
setting.
let's take a, yeah, we're looking at this.
Okay.
Now it says here that settings have been amended March 10th, 2008 to indicate dip switch number 4 is entirely the player's choice. Do you have any physical evidence that should be player's choice? Didn't Atari say that the setting for the 4-inch should be the slow and the setting for the small trackball should be on, right?
Atari issued 2 different manuals. One said on, one said off. And other than that, they never made a statement.
They never said anything?
Never to
us. Then where are you coming with player's choice from? You have no physical evidence whatsoever of player's choice?
Well, our player's choice is that there's a heritage, there's a legacy now of games having been played on, games having been played on off. And
But you have no
you
physical.
have to let me
Okay,
talk.
all right.
Games played on. The manual, the video game was issued with a manual that said 4 is on, and then it was issued with a 4 is off.
Right.
And both of those were distributed widely. So people played them on, people played them on off. They were both factory releases. They were both factory recommendations. Who knows what they may have intended, but what actually happened was that games got distributed on, games got distributed on off, and people played them that way. All the scores got merged together.
But there was a manual for the small trackball that said on for the small trackball. That would be the slow for the small trackball, makes the game unplayable. Hasn't it been established that those manuals were typographical errors due to the fact that they had the on for the slow and the off for the 4-inch at the same time? That clearly indicates.
You're wanting to debate that right now.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, because you claimed in the past that you had physical evidence of player's choice. Wasn't there some?
No, it's our determination that is player's choice, because all the scores are already merged together from the golden age, and we can't separate them because we don't know who did it on, we don't know who did it on off, so they're all merged together. And we're going to continue that. That's why it's being continued. But you can play it on.
Yeah, but isn't this the scribblings that you had on the player's manual back in 1985 that you were claiming as physical evidence that you had player's choice?
We never issued any statements on this.
Well, that's what you told. That's what Robert Merzek said in the forums, and that's what you told Guinness. You said that was physical evidence of player's choice.
We never said anything to Guinness.
Well.
Is the board verified? Did you get the dip switches where you want?
Yeah, you're playing.
Well, you told me you had physical evidence back in October. Why are you changing your mind now? Isn't this what you were saying? Is this your evidence of player's choice? Because that's what you said back in October of 2008.
We have not made any public statements on this. We've made no.
But that is yours from 1985, right?
This is in the possession of another person who ran the contest at that time. These are his remarks. So who knows what exactly they would mean, because he has things that contradict each other.
Yeah. But I only said that I would agree to have my score put on the unknown category if you had physical evidence of player's choice. You claimed you had physical evidence of player's choice. Now you're saying you're not, and this physical evidence is right here. That's what Robert Merzek said on the.
We don't want to argue that.
Roy, I think that you have to play, because there's going to be no argument done on this.
So you have no physical evidence of player's choice. Is that correct?
We're not going to make any decision on or off. We're going to talk about it in terms of it being player's choice.
Well, I withdraw when I said I wanted my score put on the unknown category because you said you had physical evidence of player's choice. I am now officially withdrawing that statement because now you're saying that you have no physical evidence of player's choice.
I think that you have.
Is that correct? Is that correct?
I think that you have to do what you want to do.
Okay. All right. Don't worry, they won't get away with it. Here is the 1985 Twin Galaxies Missile Command Tournament Manual page, which Walt today says proves nothing. Now, believe it or not, they actually tried to use this as physical evidence of player's choice. But as you can see, fast cursor is crossed out, which shows that they certainly made the distinction between the two settings, fast and slow cursor, and intended not to use the fast. Now, you can see detailed explanation of this in Roy Schilt, Mr. Awesome Comic Book #2, which will be out in the future. Now, here's the main problem. There are 4 Missile Command machines. There's a 4-inch trackball upright machine, and there's also a 2.5-inch trackball upright machine. Now, there's also a 2.5-inch trackball sit-down cocktail machine, which is the most popular for the 2.5-inch, but there's also a 4-inch trackball sit-down cockpit machine. Now, that's why the cursor settings were inadvertently switched in some later manuals. However, in every manual where both fast and slow cursor are printed together, here's an original manual. When they're printed together, it is always slow cursor for the 4-inch trackball and fast cursor for the 2.5-inch trackball. Absolutely 100% certain. Let's take a look at the circled area. That red. When Walt today says who knows what the manuals meant, you have to assume that Walter may be back on drugs. When the missile command machines are physically played side by side, the 4-inch trackball plays on the slow cursor in percentage unison to the 2.5-inch trackball playing on the fast cursor. Absolutely 100% certain.
Most of Carl Jobs' fan base back then, when he went after me and Van Buren, most of you guys came at me and him for, you know, various reasons. Because again, YouTube's a hate machine anymore. It's not like you come on here, I'm not coming on here to spit lies. Neither is Van Buren. Okay, Van Buren knew what he knew back then. He was misled. It takes more balls and guts to get on camera to say what I'm trying to say. All there is to it. It's not a lie if I'm getting on camera and I'm admitting it. I mean, I could sit here and lie to you, but then that's my reputation going down the shitter, and that's not my intention here today. My intention here today is to basically go over my thoughts and opinions of the entire Carl Jobs v. Billy Mitchell, my thoughts on Van Buren, my thoughts on the arcade cabinet from the fam photo and the recreation, a few years later. But before I even jump to that, I want to go over something that's always somewhat bothered me, and I'll pull a comment up when I go back to edit this video. Probably I'll just put it up on screen right now. It'll be right here. I wanted to talk about the fam photo and why that arcade recreated it, because I always found that weird. Why would a local arcade by Jace Hall, or even whatever, recreate a photo and try to figure out what parts were used? And they're going off of a photo analysis. They're recreating something from a photo, and then they're going to use that for the defense. It's not the original arcade. You're going to recreate something and use it for the defense. And that doesn't make sense to do. When Twin Galaxy v. Billy ended in a settlement, it was because both parties were fucking around. You had Isaiah moving plaques from the supposed Video Game Hall of Fame, which is really just a fucking closet. And then you had Jace. I'm not sure what the fuck he was doing. I'm not sure why he wanted to recreate a cabinet. I'm not even sure how he got that photo. If that photo had existed when Apollo was alive, things could have been a little bit more different in my opinion. But no. I just found that weird. It never made sense to me why recreate that photo from scratch. And I had Rudy Chavez go out to that arcade and, meet with them, and I spoke to the arcade owners on the phone. They're really nice people. And I don't really remember most of the details of my conversation with him. I have it recorded on another hard drive somewhere, and I'd have to go back and look for it because Chavez was out there filming for himself. He wanted to see the recreated cabinet that Jace and Billy went out there themselves to look at. I just find it weird. Why would you both go out to a recreated cabinet? You don't fully know if all the very same parts are in that machine to begin with of a copy replicated or, from photo analysis. All you have is to go by is a photo. Any number of parts inside of that thing could be incorrect from the photo. You don't know the inside of the machine from the fam photo. That cabinet was supplied supposedly by Robert Childs and maintenance by a GameStop employee or manager or whatever, according to Billy, which doesn't line up. And then you have Todd Rogers as the referee verification, which should automatically just fuck the record because that guy is a known cheat. So, my apologies. We have these records adjudicated in by a referee who was known to cheat, make up scores, and insert them in the database. And yet, Billy's record's still grandfathered in under a minor mediocre board that honestly shouldn't even fucking exist because I've given Jace Hall my opinion in the past. I think grandfathering in the records is stupid. My opinion is pretty strong along with a lot of the other people I speak to. The whole fucking board should just be thrown out. Regardless of settlement, fuck that shit. Fuck that. Even Carl's judge for the Carl v. Billy lawsuit, even that judge stated specifically that Billy was a cheater. That should be without shadow of a doubt right there, that even a judge can give that opinion. So that's my thoughts on that.
Friends just to play around with. We know that Billy Mitchell is a corrupt liar. He is a good person as far as a regular, ordinary person goes, but as a person that is part of the Hall of Fame, number one is corruption and collusion. He's been in Walter's pants for years, and Walter's been in his pants. They've been, together since day one. They've scammed people out of money. They've scammed people out of fame, glory, everything, you name it. The problem with the Hall of Fame was the first year of inductees were people that got on their hands and knees for Walter and Billy, carried boxes for them and whatnot, and did nothing but garbage accomplishments. And when I say garbage accomplishments, I'm not talking about me playing Home Alone on the Nintendo. I'm talking about people like Brian Cady, who's a nobody in gaming, who did 97,000 points. 97,000 points on a lousy game of extreme settings of Tempest. Not only is he on the board of directors and board of the Hall of Fame, but he's also in the Hall of Fame as a Hall of Famer. How the fuck do you put somebody in the Hall of Fame that's not even somebody that's done something in gaming? International Video Game Hall of Fame out of Ottumwa, Iowa should be burned and dismantled to the ground. And when I say burned, that doesn't mean I'm saying somebody should go arson it so now Walter could be like, oh, did you hear what he said? No. Burned to the ground, for you little liberals out there, means it should be dismantled, destroyed, legally. Get rid of it. They're inducting people because of favoritism, okay? You've got a whole bunch of Xbox creators in there the first year. Nolan Bushnell, okay, maybe. Founder of Atari, right? John McAllister, great arcade player, great gamer, very deserving. I don't know about first year, but definitely deserving. Todd Rogers, found to be a scammer, not a real true player, a liar, a cheater, exposed. Why hasn't he not been removed from the Hall of Fame? And I'm going to get to that here in a minute. It's funny I get nominated for the Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award, and the world will be so much better when Walter Day is gone off the face of this earth. He's an evil man. He is the opposite of Moses and God and Jesus. Disgusting. Now you got Todd fucking Friedman, brown-nosing Walter and Billy Mitchell, okay? All of a sudden, 17 of you lowlives got hush money or were promised hush money from Walter and Billy to shut your mouths about the Hall of Fame, and all of a sudden this magical code of ethics that was never out there before suddenly appeared on the website a week ago or 2 weeks ago when Robert Merzick nominated me for the second year in a row for the very much deserving Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award, which it shouldn't even be fucking called that. I don't care if I get the award. We know that I'm more than worthy. I'll go out and make my own trophy. I'll go out and make my own plaque and my own Hall of Fame. I mean, people should be making their own Hall of Fames. Ivgoff is a sham. Number one, Ivgoff, the name was created by Josh Houselander. It has nothing to do with Ottumwa, Iowa. They are not a nonprofit organization because they beg for donations, and they say if you don't donate or don't show up, you're never going to get into the Hall of Fame. They want you to come to the event. They want you to pay. They want you to donate articles, anything you can do to help them, carry boxes or whatever. I mean, as you can see, Walter Day puts everybody on a fucking card. I mean, the cards are worthless. What about the real gamers also besides myself that are not getting inducted because they don't brown-nose Walter and Billy? Billy has been caught with legal scandals. So is Walter. Todd as well. Now, what about this? Ken House, Eric Aikson, okay? Not a good ref. First year into the Hall of Fame because of Turbo Pac-Man. Was just asked to sign the code of ethics and basically told Walter and company to fucking bend over and fuck off and bend and flush. Because Eric Aikson basically said straight up that I'm not signing this code of ethics. So is he going to be removed from the Hall of Fame? Lord knows he shouldn't have been in there anyway. They put him in for Turbo Pac-Man, a fucking hacked version of Pac-Man. All because he carried boxes and he kissed Walter's ass. Rob Barrett. Not saying he's not a good gamer. Tutankhamun champion. Why is that Hall of Fame worthy? Because of one game. Brian Cady, Tempest, 97,000. Speaks for itself on the board. Should not be in the Hall of Fame. Paul Dean, same thing. One game. Ben Falls. Ben, you're a good friend of mine. You're a funny guy. You're a Moon Patrol champion, former Donkey Kong, whatever. You're not Hall of Fame worthy because you did a bunch of good games. I'm not bashing you. You're my friend. But come on, dude. You're a Hall of Famer? First year? Who's Dennis Fresh Frog, legendary PC gaming champion that won $16,000 one time? So that means you're a Hall of Famer? What did you do for Walter? Go on a card for him? Bend over, get on your hands and knees, perhaps carry some boxes for him? Ben Gold, That's Incredible. He was on the one That's Incredible show. Never done another fucking thing in his life. But because he brown noses and kisses ass, he's in the Hall of Fame. So you put a guy that won one little show against 2 or 3 other people, and that makes him a legendary gamer. He's never done gaming in his life otherwise before or afterwards. Ike Hall, okay, so he's a past Donkey Kong champion. Tim Zerbe got fucked out of zillions of dollars or whatever the money was made from the King of Kong. So they put Ike Hall in there only because he's a past Donkey Kong champion. Then you put Ken House in there because he's a Dig Dug champion. Mind you, he violates the code of ethics and does not follow the rules of law outside of gaming. He's threatened to beat me up. He's hurt other people. I'm not saying he can't be a nice guy sometimes. We had some fun in 2012 when I met him, but then he was a total dick towards me and then bashed me and other gamers as usual. Okay, Andrew Laidlaw, nice guy, Galga world champion. Doesn't mean you go into the Hall of Fame. Here's one of the biggest fucking jokes in all of history of gaming. Fucking Bluto 2, worse than Rick Carter. Fucking Bluto in itself. Chris Mansfield. I mean, you couldn't even fucking walk if your life depended on it. He charted fucking Kicker at FunSpot back in 2007-08. And because of Kicker, fucking Walter handpicked him because he kissed his ass and he's part of, fucking Mark Alpigger's site, so he put him into the Hall of Fame. John McAllister, I already spoke about, no reason to. Billy Mitchell, once again, cheater, liar, scam artist, fraud, and of course, took away from Tim Zerbe, not to mention, put into the Hall of Fame and is also on the board. Perry Rogers, decent gamer. Again, I don't know about first year of being a Hall of Famer. Todd Rogers, once again, another handpicked liar, scam artist. Once again, all of these people, except the few that I mentioned, violated the code of ethics because they violated the rule of law. That's what it says on the code of ethics. Read the code of ethics on the IVGOF Hall of Fame. What's it going to do? Disappear now? Scott Safran, okay, Asteroids champion. Does that mean he goes into the Hall of Fame for one fucking game? Jonathan Wendell Fatality speaks for itself. Oh, here's one. Steve Wiebe was paid to go around the country thousands of dollars just to promote and push the King of Kong, which ruined all of classic gaming anyway. It was one of the worst things ever. So, Donkey Kong Jr. champion, really. First of all, he was caught using the double Donkey Kong board. He was never really a true Donkey Kong champion. He screwed Tim Zerbe out of fame and money and was picked up off the street. And I've seen him play many years before he got good. He was paid to go around to do nothing. He should not be in the Hall of Fame. He was also a cheater. That's a fact. Phil Younger, Berserk champion. Because he died, they put him in. Give me a break. Rest in peace, Phil. You were a friend of mine. I like you. Not saying you're not a great gamer. Ralph Baer, obviously well rendered. Nolan Bushnell. Okay, fine. Creator of Donkey Kong. Here we go. All because he's the creator of Donkey Kong. No, you're not a Hall of Famer, sir. The Namco founder. Maybe. Steve Ritchie, because he's a legendary game designer. Hey, I fucking produced 3 Atari 2600 games. I'm the only gamer and world champion gamer in history to do all that, including the max out scores and, of course, the marathons and everything else, and having the most max outs. I mean, the list goes on. That's why I'm the greatest all-around gamer of all time. Kevin Bacchus, Xbox design team. How much wang did they suck to get in? Otto Burkus, another Xbox guy. Seamus Blackie, another Xbox. Ted Haas, Xbox. Why are Xbox design teams getting into the fucking Hall of Fame? Really? Games. Pac-Man. So, there you have it. The first year of inductees. Who the fuck are these people? Why are they in the Hall of Fame? International Video Game Hall of Fame, which you should not even be called. If you're going to have an International Video Game Hall of Fame, number one, players with ethics and moral values need to be inducted. Also, why is Isaiah in the Hall of Fame? That guy's threatened to rob people. He has robbed people. He's stolen money from people. He's even gone on his live stream and said that's what people in Brooklyn do. Also, he's a thug. Everybody knows it. He's a typical friggin' lowlife. He's one of the many of the biggest problem in our country that caused the most crimes. It's not racist. It's a fact, and it's disgusting. And he ought to be ashamed of himself. He doesn't pay people back. He steals money. He's an e-beggar all over the place. Is that ethical? Is that not against the rule of law? So Walter, Billy, Brian, Katie, Grace Snoke, Mary Glasgow, whoever the fuck you are, you guys are okay with inducting people into the Hall of Fame that go around robbing people, stealing from people, threatening to beat people up, follow people around at FunSpot because they wanted their record back. So instead of getting it back legitimately, threatened people. Andrew Gardigas, he threatened. Isaiah even walks the streets of this earth, let alone in Jamaica, that anybody allows him to do what he does. why he's not in jail, yanked from the Hall of Fame, and taken all the money that he's taken from people over the years, why he's not been arrested. It's disgusting. He owes so many people money, it's not even funny. And he still continues to beg on his YouTube channel. And we all know he never did that Contra 3 score.
I'm going to move to the next one. Let me give my video response to Van Buren. So as I said earlier, it takes a lot of balls to get on camera. You know, it does. He does it all the time. I've had nothing but pleasant talks with Van Buren. The only one I really didn't have a pleasant talk with him about was when he thought that my hard drive was fake and then I pulled it out. So the reason why that hard drive is not fake is because it's the very same model of hard drive that Web Insignia had to work with. So if you contact Web Insignia and you find out what kind of hard drives Twin Galaxies was using back then, they'll claim it's that exact Porsche model. It's that Porsche Steelbook looking thing that I had. I don't have the exact model and everything, but basically it's a 2 terabyte little drive that contains most of the Twin Galaxies database, minus some videos, obviously, because there wasn't really much video upload verification. It was just, here was a DVD submission for this amount of time, or here's a referee verification. There's no video files. Not that many. And if there were, it was just input files, or INPs as I call it. All those exist on that hard drive. I don't know if I plan to, like I said before in the past years ago, I don't know if I plan to destroy that hard drive. I don't plan to release it. I don't know what I want to do with it yet. Thought about writing a book about it, because there's just a lot of fucked up shit on that hard drive. The original rules for some tracks on Twin Galaxies currently are, the track rules are different from what's listed on there. I asked Frico, who was friends with Richie Knuckles and Jordan Adler and all them, during their iteration of ownership. If you look at my Twin Galaxies ownership video and you look back at that video clip, Frico at one point was working with Web Insignia to fix the database. He knows for a fact, as soon as I held up that drive or showed him a photo, he's like, yeah, they're the same ones. So he's also a second verification to that hard drive being legitimate. I opened it up. It looks like something out of a cPanel. A cPanel, for those that don't know how to work a website, like let's say, for example, you open a website with GoDaddy, you have access to something called a cPanel, and it's basically a bunch of folders and then file names, and then every folder is literally a page to a website. So like /home, /videos, /database, /whatever. Oh, /PlayStation. Okay, / under that. Okay, let's find Gex Deep Cover Gecko, for example. I was picking a game at random that I knew off the top of my head from like PlayStation days, but whatever. My point is that there's files upon files. There are email, web admin email exchanges like saved in there under the SQL server, and a bunch of other things that I've reloaded up and I've looked at, but that's all I'm going to go into as to what's on it. There's stuff I don't want to get into that's on that I've withheld for a few years now. And you might be saying, well, why don't I just open Pandora's box? Do we really need to open up another shit show? Wouldn't it be more better if we just kind of, in my opinion anyway, I'd rather just not even do it. That's my thought. That's my personal thought. You could argue, well, what if we take it off your hands? What if one of us privately takes it? I don't even want to risk that. This hard drive came from someone who is now long since gone. I had another friend named Rudy, and a lot of people that were following Carl Jobs, specifically, the people that I and Apollo and a few other people don't like, because we know that they are fucking con men. They are lying pieces of shit. These same people lied to me about Apollo. They lied to Apollo. They lied to my friends. And Carl kept them in close company. And when I first initially, let's jump back a bit, right? I would say a month after Apollo Legend passes away, Ben. If you go down in Apollo Legend's YouTube channel and you go to community posts right now, you scroll down to the last one he did, which is, I think it's the first post he ever did. you'll see Carl Jobs posting in there saying that'll carry the torch. And ever since I read that, I'm like, well, Carl, I'm going to be frank here, and it's just like I put in the comment to Vampire. Carl was never in any circle I knew of. He was never with Apollo. He was never in the server, never disputing anything with us. He just kind of, as many people would say, inserted himself in. And a lot of us were like, who is this guy? I didn't want to, shirk him off or, something like that. I didn't want to insult the guy. Like, if he could find something credible, sure, have a go at it. Like, if it completely removes my hands from it at that point, because back then I had Isaiah and Billy trying to fucking basically delete my channel. They wanted me to take down videos I did of Empire Arcadia and Fraud. They wanted me to take down the Billy Mitchell videos that I did prior that Carl had never seen, because again, his entire fan base thinks I'm a Billy shill, which I've insulted Billy in the past. In 2018, when he went to Southern Fried Gaming, I was one of the first people to step up, make a video against him, saying, why not show the papers that are in your fucking hand right now? Turn them around. You're claiming that people are making death threats to your son, but then you're not showing them. You're just holding papers in my hand. Anybody could hold a fucking paper in their hand, Billy. I could hold a paper right now. I could hold this bag of fucking Sour Patch Kids and tell you it's a bomb. Like, it's not rocket science, and no, I'm not eating those. They're actually my wife's. I just figured I'd pull them up. But I'm just saying, you could hold anything up and say it's one thing and then another. And Billy did the exact same thing in a later video that he did on YouTube itself, which is funny because he never wanted to do a YouTube channel. He holds up a paper saying, yeah, this is my settlement with Apollo. And he just holds it. He doesn't like turn it to the screen. He doesn't show it to you like this. No, he just holds it in his hand. Anyone can fucking do that. I could hold my phone and say, hey, this is, hey, Billy, I got your nudes on my phone. Like, you know what I mean? It's fucking baffling. It's ridiculous. But to go back, Carl never struck me in any way that I would have known him, if that makes sense. A lot of people already didn't trust him months after Apollo passed away. And then as stuff started warming up and he started going over Heritage Auction, the people that do grading. Me personally, I loved that video. That was a good video. I told Carl, dude, that was probably your best video. Some of your best work. Because grading right now is a fucking scam. Card grading, maybe. Video game grading, maybe to an extent, because you got a lot of people that they're sending in fake replicas, and that shit's getting graded, and then people are selling them for thousands, and they're just fakes. Like, I just read on a Facebook group that a $3,500 N64 gold controller with the N64 logo at the top, it's in a case that is sealed and PSA graded at a 10, okay? A 10. For thousands. Where it's loose for a few $100s, and the whole fucking thing is fake. The whole controller. It's 3D printed. Costs them no more than 20 bucks. The 3D print. The filament. So I will agree with him. There is that one video he did was pretty amazing for that one. But to go over and kind of insert himself in, and to say that particular thing about Apollo, saying that Billy was the one responsible fully, and there was financial losses, and it was part of the settlement, and that none of that we ever had verification on, because let me explain why. Apollo never disclosed the settlement to literally anyone. He would talk to me a little bit about the stuff, but he never, he could have told me anything. I don't recall if he ever talked about money. I'm going to be dead ass honest. It's been years. And even then, it's settled. It wasn't like a court document. There's nothing in writing. Settlement is basically you both walk out of the courtroom, say, hey, you know what? How about $10? We'll call it a day. Here's all my videos. Have at it. We don't have any knowledge of this. We don't know any of this. Y'all are out here just kind of. I guess some of the mad people that have hated Billy Mitchell are just following Carl after Apollo. Most of the classic video game arcade scene that followed Apollo um, kind of went suit. I thought about continuing right after Apollo passed, but I I just love my family, man. I don't want to risk my family. Think about all the stress right now. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Carl with this video by no fucking means. I'm not doing that. I'm not shitting on anybody. But the one thing I don't want to see happen is Carl Jobs repeat what Apollo did. And Carl go and, you know, I'm not saying the words. I don't think he'll do that. I don't want him to do that. I don't want anyone to repeat that. Nobody does. That's fucking horrible. You know, guy's got a kid and a wife. Why would he want to do that? Probably not. Probably think I'm stupid for thinking that, but history repeats itself. It's a common phrase, and I didn't want to go down the same path. I really didn't. I mean, Carl had the difference of being in Australia. I've said this before. Like, he had more of a chance of succeeding because he's out of country rather than in the US. But I'm not entirely aware of Australia's laws. I don't know how any of the court system would work. But, yeah, that's just my thought. I don't think that, and I'll say this for myself and my own opinion. And my own opinion's subject to change, but this is my opinion currently. I don't think Carl Jobs was in the right for specifically stating that Billy Mitchell was the 110% cause of Apollo's death. That is not correct. That is not something that should be said. Apollo had medical conditions where he basically couldn't use his fucking hands.
And that's because of the stupid people online, you know, who constantly go after me. That comes with the territory. I understand that. Even though it did get to me for a while. I forgot. The only reason I had success on YouTube to begin with was because I stopped caring what people thought. And then somewhere along the line, I started caring again. But I guess I just needed to be reminded not to care. That's no reason to make a decision like this. I know that. And so this doesn't have to do with them. This doesn't have to do with anyone really, except for me. So there's really nothing I can say except I'm sorry and thank you for everything you've done for me. If you want to do anything, this is the worst. I feel the worst about this, but if you want to do anything for me, consider giving my family $1, because I have unpaid taxes, which I feel terrible about, because I know that's gonna go to my family. But I just cannot. I told myself I gotta at least do that before I leave, right? I can't leave my family with taxes, but I can't even. My mind and body are broken. I am constantly in pain in several different ways. I'm completely dysfunctional, and it's getting worse. I just can't do it. I'm out. Like, I can't. I have nothing left to give. There's like, whatever willpower I had is all gone. I'm just empty.
He had, like, some form of, like, arthritis or something, that if I can recall, that his hands were so injured or in so much fucking pain that the amount of medicines he took every day, he couldn't handle it anymore. He had his friends betraying him left and right. Oceanside fell apart. Dark Viper and Easyscape. A lot of people blame the two of them for their death, even though they're just attributions. You know, we're just gonna move on from that topic entirely from here on. I just wanted to state that there is many people going around. I'm not saying this. I'm just stating that other people were going around. Okay? For the record, for legal record, I'm stating that other people were going around and saying these things. And all I'm doing is just repeating it and leaving it at that. My friend's gone. It sucks. He was a good guy. I never got a chance to really run Ocarina of Time with him all that much. I really didn't. So I don't want to get into that. So let me get to the next point with Van Buren's video. Van Buren goes over, and Van Buren and me were shitted on by Carl. I think that's what Carl Jobs' recent post on Twitter was about, saying that, oh, I dish out a lot of bullshit, I can take it. I'm thinking that maybe that was in reference to us. I'm not sure. But after listening to what Van Buren said, and initially I wasn't even going to. I was going to be like, I don't care. Another day in Drama Central. I don't fucking care. But then I decided to look at it. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. What I got to lose? I'll listen to this 10, 15 minute, 20-minute video and, lose that time of my day and make another video in response if I need to, whatever. I go to look at it. And to find out Van Buren is in Carl's server, which I'm not. I'm not there because there's a couple of people in that server that I don't agree with, period. At all. People that have lied about Apollo have lied to me. I don't trust those people. No one in Apollo's circle trusts those fucking people. Nobody in my circle trusts those fucking people. So, Carl has specifically stated in the past that some of his information is false because of these people. Because these same people, I'm just going to quote one of their names right now, and I don't fucking care. Kat Despira, or Catherine Tess, or Tessia, whatever her fucking real last name is, I don't really particularly care. That woman lied to me and Apollo. I got on the phone with her. She lied to me, stating that she would always talk to Apollo Legend on the phone. I go to talk to Apollo Legend. He basically stated that never fucking happened. I have the Discord logs to prove that. No conversation like that ever existed via phone. She lied. Chronic liar. And the reason that she is a liar, she'll make up literally anything to make a big YouTuber like Carl believe her, so Carl can basically use his huge influence to shit the wrong information down. She has lied to me in the past. The information from the King of Kong video from Apollo Legend, if you go on archive.org and you look up the King of Kong right now, that video that Apollo did, where he pulls up references of like 3 pages of documents that were signed by Billy Mitchell, all those somehow Catherine Tess got by hijacking Billy's email or whatever. None of those, for all we know, are legitimate because she was the writer for Twin Galaxies and a manipulative liar. She writes WordPad documents in rage. Constantly. She uses other people to basically shit on Billy's parade. And you want to know why? It wasn't even for anything minor. It's just because Billy Mitchell wouldn't marry her. That's it. She wouldn't get any of the fame or wealth to do fuck all nothing, so instead she has to work her ass off in some fucking pocketbook stores in California and wherever, really. I don't fucking care, wherever that slime ball is. But the thing is that the company you keep caters to what you give and what you give out. So, in my mind, if I have a couple people that I know are lying in the group, and then they start giving information suddenly, what makes you think that that information isn't possibly a lie? You can't be relying on it. So you have to take your time verifying bullshit. And I did that, but I don't think that Apollo ever did. I don't think he ever actually trusted those individuals, but he did. I didn't. That was the difference. I'm more susceptible to taking my time and examining everything down to the detail. Like the red stick. Okay? I'm gonna go to that even though I got massively hated for it. I don't give a shit. I still think, I don't care, I still think there's a conversion kit that existed for that. I still think there's a radar scope conversion. I do. And even if it doesn't matter, Twin Galaxies still accepted retrofitting scores. Meaning, Roy Schild's Missile Command, Tony Temple. They both used a different trackball. Walter Day accepted 2 different tracks. But they went to the same track. You see where I'm getting at here? When two people are using two different controllers to play a game, the same game, and instead of Walter Day making two separate tracks, he made it one whole track. So the same thing could be said here. You have Todd Rogers, he sees Billy using a fucking arcade cabinet with a red stick compared to the black OEM. You know what? It's okay, let's just put it in the same track. But people weren't getting that. Instead, they were attacking me because it wasn't the standard black OEM. And it shouldn't matter because either way, Todd Rogers is a fraud. His record should automatically be thrown out. Just for being accepted by someone who made up shit in the database to begin with. If there's any proof of any of these in current Twin Galaxies iteration right now, if there's, in my opinion, if there is any proof that any referee verified score, and that's like half of Isaiah Johnson's because most of them are verified by referee, and Todd Rogers was in Empire Arcadia and Lance Eustace. They were both referees for Twin Galaxies living with Isaiah. Half of his content and shit that is uploaded on Twin Galaxies is referee verified. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm going to say that for the record. His bullshit should be tossed. Unless Isaiah can actually go back and do every one of those scores on video doing the new TG SAP assets and doing it the way that we did it, I don't buy it. The whole Contra 3 dispute years ago is proof that Twin Galaxies currently needs a lot of rework. And that still stands to this fucking day. Because the Drifter, the guy who went on to do AGDQ for Contra 3, turned around and did a maxed out score grinding on the final boss for like an hour. Half an hour to an hour on the final boss, just grinding out parts on the boss. I proved Isaiah wrong by word of fucking mouth, by the way. And yet, Jay Hall still allowed it. I don't get it. Can't teach a monkey tricks. I don't get it. Can't teach an idiot tricks. I don't know. I don't know. But for years, I've just been like hoping that Carl would win, and this whole thing would be done with, and I wouldn't have to, consider releasing the hard drive. I've been really hesitant on doing it because I really, really feel like I'm gonna have a lawsuit thrown at me. I really would. So I'm not. I'm gonna hold it. It's not in my possession currently. My friend has it in his safe. I don't have it right now. I don't want any, immediate access to the damn thing at all. I'm never going to release the information of which that friend is. I just know it's in his safe, and that friend is currently in Pennsylvania. That's all I'm going to give out. That's it. No one I know is ever going to figure out where the fuck that thing is, and I'd rather no one ever do. A lot of the records I could start questioning right now. I could start trying to clean up Twin Galaxies piece by piece. But again, that's not my intention. Unfortunately, with the way things stands, unless Jace Hall was to appoint someone to start properly adjudicating and going through some of the old records and let this individual start, removing referee verified records that are bullshit, or to put in some system to make people go back and make them fucking redo the record, expunge it. Expunge it. Like, what's the fucking point? We have the speedrunning community. And I'm not talking about just Twin Galaxies here. I'm talking about all of video games. We have Twin Galaxies and the speedrunning community as a whole. Speedrun.com. And we have these two platforms that have always been at odds with one another. And I'm going to go off what Apollo said here, and I'm going to agree with him on this one. Speedrun.com is crooked as fuck. I'm not mincing my words on that. I fucking hate that platform. You have all these, and the way I look at Speedrun.com, and I shit you not, I look at it like this. I look at it like a bunch of Reddit circle jerkers. Because all the mods are just people that play the game, and are possibly the best player in the world at that game. So they hold everything under scrutiny, and if they don't like you, they'll try to get you banned for literally anything so your record gets expunged. Or so you can't communicate or dispute anything. I don't like that platform at all. To be totally honest, I don't. Um, the guy who runs ZeldaSpeedruns.com, or Trezco, I don't trust that guy either. The guy who made the randomizer or had a hand in it, I don't trust him. That guy is, when me and Frico volunteered for Zelda 2 randomizer for like doing commentary, and I was doing that for fucking I think like 2-3 years with Frico. We were enjoying our time doing that. They traded us over from Speed Gaming to ZSR. And then they started like accepting donations. They were using our voice without our consent to pick up donations and add monetary YouTube ad revenue and shit under the volunteer. And we weren't originally doing that. We never agreed to have free marketed like that. I never agreed to that. So they took all the donations that they got and they gave it to this random girl that we didn't even know and made her a mod. And we're just like, what the fuck? So like all the time, all the years that we spend doing the commentary, the tracking for these runs, we're updating the tracker while they're running in real time, and then at the end, sit there for even longer to talk to the runners, get to know them, be friends with them, and all that. We're spending all this time doing that, and you're gonna turn around and market us without asking? So you could see why we were pissed off. And I stopped doing commentary back then. And it was around that time that a few months later, like maybe 6-7 months later, Apollo passed away. And then all this shit started to go downhill. And now I'm seeing basically history repeat itself. And I don't want to see that. All I'm saying is, I think y'all should just give Carl a little bit of space. Just a little bit. Because let's be honest here. And I'm going to be dead ass honest. Okay? I would probably be in his shoes right now had I continued. It is what it is. The only difference is I wouldn't have blamed someone's death entirely on one person. That is not the right move at all. That is one thing I've told him multiple times. I've told Carl myself. I don't agree with him on it. It is what it is. But if we look at Van Buren's video, I honestly believe that's what happened. If something different happened from that video, you know what? Let me just play the Van Buren clip right now.
Because when you get kicked out of a Discord, because it's only happened to me once in my life, and Carl's the one who did it to me, or maybe it's one of his moderators, I don't know, but I think it was Carl himself because we were talking when it happened. But yeah, so basically Carl, I said, Carl, are you going to appeal this decision? Isn't it going to cost more money? He says, yes, it's probably going to cost more money because of legal fees and all that stuff, but he's seriously considering doing it. And then I said, Carl, I would highly advise against it because you don't need that stress in your life. You're already going through, putting your family through a lot. And two, you're probably going to cost more money. You're not going to win. I mean, I was looking at like the case and like he lost by a lot, in my opinion. Like it wasn't even close. The judge, I don't even think the judge really cared for Carl. Like, I think Carl's, and the way he presents himself, but by the way he even talks, is so cocky. He's like so cocky, and he really pushes people's buttons. And I think he probably pushed the judge's buttons as well. But the fact that he's even thinking about appealing it is kind of laughable to me. Like, I just don't know what he's thinking. He's just going to put himself more in debt. So I just kind of like, as a friend, said, hey, I wouldn't appeal this decision if I were you. Cut your losses and move on. And he immediately said, like, I don't want any of your opinions. I don't need any advice, especially from you. And I'm thinking, like, especially from me? What the hell did I do? You know what I mean? So then I wrote, sorry, I was just trying to give you my opinion. I guess I'll just grab some popcorn and enjoy the show. I mean, what else can I say? That's what I said. And immediately, as soon as I said that, boom, kicked out, banned, whatever. So then I reached out to Carl and I said, wow, man, you really kicked me out of your Discord for just giving you my honest opinion. I know you're going through a lot, but like, what the hell, dude? and he left me on red.
As I stated in the comment in the very beginning of the video, I think him quoting, or just saying, "Let me pull out the popcorn and watch," was maybe a little bit out of line. May have set him over, but it is what it is. It's lighthearted satire. It's not something that should have been taken seriously for a kick and a block. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Van Buren. I think that settling is gonna cost you way more. You do have to admit, though, Carl, you made a lot of money through ad revenue and donations and the attorney defense, and the defense wasn't even for that. You know, like, I'm not saying that you're in the wrong or the right. Like, you're in the right for going after him for cheating, but you're in the wrong for misleading your entire community with the lawsuit. Because, just go back and look at Van Buren's whole video and just look at it from that perspective. You didn't release your video, and when you did upload a regular video, you deleted it because the comments were spicy, you know. But unlike you deleting a video that the comments get spicy, I left mine up. When all your fans came to me shitting on me for pointing out retrofitting, you know, and being called a Billy Shill and every other fucking word in the book, and you didn't even know that I was against Billy from the very beginning, even before you started making videos. I feel like even though, I'll be honest, I'll be dead ass honest, the fucking thumbnail I made of you with the fucking dollar signs in your eyes, that was just me being a dick. But, looking back at that whole video, though, to know that Robert Childs was the one that gave the cabinet for FAM, and now that we know all that we know, in conjunction, I think I could safely say it'd be better if I also drop this. Because I already know that Billy Mitchell is a cheating fraud in video games. I know that Todd Rogers is. I know Isaiah Johnson is. But the one guy that y'all failed to go after this whole time, and I'm surprised no one has tried to do it yet. Why hasn't anyone gone after Walter Day? Why hasn't anyone tried to go after him? The guy made the biggest fraud in video game history. He made an entire database with fake stardom, creating a fake platform with records, half of which are bogus, with favoritism and retrofitting. And yet, y'all go after the puppet, but not the puppet master. To quote Frico. That just doesn't really click, you know? Y'all are going after the wrong guy. Think about it. Just think. What may I know right now that is on that hard drive that makes me say that? I want you to speculate. Just think about it all day. There is one sliver of public information out there on Google. If you go looking, you will find it. And I'm already writing about it. So, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might say let the games begin and I'll start my my attempt, or maybe I'll just chill. Maybe not eat popcorn, but you know what? I will have a piece of mochi. I've never actually eaten mochi. Strawberry mochi. Got some jam in there. I don't know. It's pretty good. But you know what? Even though I'm sitting here eating Japanese food and not giving a fuck, I will say that I don't wish anything ill against Carl. Don't wish anything ill against Billy, Walter, or even Apollo and his family or whatever. But, or even Van Buren. But the world's got to learn to get along. What I mean by that is we all got to learn to get along in some kind of fucking manner. Even though there's a bunch of cheating pricks out there, it's just video games. There's no need to donate thousands of dollars to some guy for a legal suit that you'd have no full understanding of that hasn't been fully explained. There's no reason for a lot of people to be mentally attached to this case as they are. There are a lot of things in life people can do. Like, for example, I'm sitting here eating fucking a Japanese piece of fucking candy. Okay? There's cultures, there's other games you can play, there's communities you could do, you could write fanfics, you could do whatever the fuck you want. It's life. Get life. Go out, touch grass. Do anything. That's all I have to say. It's like a donut. Pretty good. Like a strawberry donut. Like apple jam. It's pretty good. Guys, go give mochi a try. It's not so bad. I didn't think I'd make a video where I'm just sitting here eating fucking mochi, but, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, as I said, Godspeed for everyone. As I still stand, I'm not releasing that hard drive, but go look around for the information I specified. Go look into Walter Day. Because I can assure you, you're going to find something you're not going to like. And unfortunately, the person who suffered the most from this is actually Jace Hall from when he bought Twin Galaxies, because it's not actually worth what it is, but he's trying to make it worth something. Unfortunately, in order to make it worth anything, Jace, you're gonna need to start deleting some of the stuff that's on there. Otherwise, it's never gonna have any true value. I feel like if you let someone edit that database unrestricted, and you let them actually do their job of due diligence to look into records and start processing things and list them for removal, make people redo their scores, whatever, Twin Galaxies will actually make a profit. It'll increase in price. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm just giving you suggestions here if you want more money. And who doesn't want more money for a thing they bought? I decided to put this at the end of the video. You can dial 988 for the national crisis number, although I'm pretty sure it's America only. If you're feeling depressed or hateful toward anything, because typically hate and stress can lead to actions you wouldn't want to do. Regrettable things that, you know, you could do to yourself or others, and that's never fun. There's no reason to use YouTube or TikTok or whatever's on your phone as an outlet for hatred or whatever. There's other ways to feel better about yourself. There are plenty of programs out there that are available. You can adopt an animal or maybe a baby. I wouldn't recommend a baby unless you're financially stable, but you know what I mean. There are programs out there to help people that are typically loners. I'm not. I don't really need this, but I'm sure there's some people out there that would appreciate this. And that's why I'm suggesting to anyone who's been, you know, caught up in this. Some of you don't get out much. Some of you just stick to your phones. You're looking at this case too much. Probably depressed, stressed, stress reading, trying to find solutions, you know, trying to get the outcome for one party or another. Let me tell you now, it's life. There's going to be outcomes you're not going to like and outcomes you are going to like. And for some, there are ways to handle it. Some people can't, though. If you feel like you're one of those people that cannot handle a situation that you're in, or feel like you're about to get in, dial the crisis number.